Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we take the source materials you send us and really try to get to the heart of the matter.
That's right.
And today we're digging into something I think offers a really fresh perspective, digital transformation, but specifically looking at Nepal.
Yeah, we've got quite a stack of sources here, articles, some research, listener notes too, all focused on how Nepalese companies are bringing in technologies like, AI and automation.
And the core question here is pretty fascinating, I think. It's not just how are they starting, but how are they getting real growth out of it?
Mhm.
And maybe even more interesting, how are they apparently managing to dodge some of those huge, really expensive mistakes that tripped up massive global companies?
It's a really important point. The sources make it clear this isn't just tech for tech's sake over there. In a place like Nepal, digitalization is often, tightly bound to bigger national goals.
Like poverty reduction.
Exactly. Poverty reduction, financial inclusion, making sure growth benefits everyone. That changes the why behind it all, compared to, say, purely commercial drivers in more developed economies.
Which gives them a different angle, right? It feels like they're carving out their own path, maybe even using what some sources call a latecomer advantage.
Spot on. That idea, they could look at what worked, what didn't work globally,
Yeah.
and maybe leapfrog straight to more modern, proven stuff without being stuck like clunky old system.
Makes sense. They don't have that legacy baggage.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It allows for strategic choices others just didn't have. So our mission today is to really unpack this material, understand this Nepali-style approach, and see what we can learn.
Okay, let's do that. But maybe first, let's look at those global giants. Before we jump into Nepal, what were those big, costly stumbles? What did the sources say about those expensive failures?
Well, the research shows a few common threads popping up again and again.
Mm.
One big one was a lack of clear strategic vision and leadership.
No clear why.
Basically, yeah. Think about it. A huge chunk of these massive digital projects apparently started without a proper roadmap, or sometimes without real backing from senior management.
Wow.
So it wasn't always clear why they were doing it, what the business goals were, or even if they fully grasped the tech they were throwing money at.
So big investments, but no North Star, no buy-in upstairs.
Exactly. And another massive hurdle. Data. Just ineffective data practices.
How so?
Organizations often just weren't ready for the sheer volume and complexity of data needed. Leadership wasn't focused enough on analysis. The data quality was often poor.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Pretty much. Or data was stuck in silos. Different departments couldn't share, get a unified picture. That hindered progress, like 62% of the time, according to one source.
You can't run fancy AI if your data's a mess, right?
Exactly. And here's a surprising one. A lot of projects weren't actually aligned with what customers needed. The focus was too internal. Optimizing processes inside the company, rather than asking, what does the customer actually want or need from us digitally?
That seems fundamental, like missing the whole point.
It really is. And then there was just inefficient use of the tech itself. Companies would buy expensive stuff.
Shiny new toys.
Right. But then struggle to integrate it properly or use all its features. And often, their existing old IT systems just got in the way. That legacy baggage you mentioned really held things back for established players.
That makes sense. Hard to bolt new things onto old foundations.
It is.
Yeah.
And finally, the sources really hammer this home.
Yeah.
Ignoring the people side of things, the human factor.
Change management.
Exactly. We know success hinges on people changing mindsets, building skills, managing the transition. But the research suggests, something like 74% of failures were down to poor change management or not having the right teams in place.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because the sources give us those classic cautionary tales. We hear about Ford's early mobile service issues, or P&G investing loads but struggling to show results. Target's Canada expansion hitting digital snags. Nike's supply chain disaster.
Big losses there.
Yeah. And Kodak, of course. The ultimate example, they invented the tech, but didn't pivot their main business.
Those stories really drive the point home. And these weren't minor mistakes. The average cost for these projects was huge, around $10.9 million, and something like 37% just failed outright.
Wow.
It shows that just throwing money and tech at a problem without sorting out the strategy, the data, the culture, the people, it's a massive gamble.
And being big and established, like you said, with those legacy systems and cultures can actually be a disadvantage. A newer scene, maybe like Nepal, might have that cleaner slate.
That clean slate plus the chance to learn from everyone else's mistakes. It definitely offers a different starting point.
Okay, so let's make that shift. Let's focus on Nepal's foundation now. What's the national strategy kind of setting the stage?
The main thing here is the Digital Nepal Framework, the DNF. It started back in 2019, but it was updated. DNF 2.0, presented early 2025. It's basically the government's big plan for an economic revolution driven by digital.
Economic revolution through digital.
Right.
That's ambitious. What are the core parts of DNF 2.0?
The sources lay out four main pillars. First, building those future-ready digital foundations. So connectivity, cloud, cybersecurity, digital ID systems, the basics.
Got it. Infrastructure first.
Right. Second, access to digital services.
Right.
Getting public services, healthcare, education, finance online, and making sure people can actually use them, especially bridging that urban-rural gap.
Inclusion is key.
Definitely. Third is skills and digital literacy. Developing the human capital training in coding, entrepreneurship, just basic digital skills for everyone.
The people part again.
Crucial. And fourth, transforming the digital economy itself, boosting sectors like e-commerce, fintech, agri-tech, and supporting IT startups.
It sounds really comprehensive, not just the tech, but the infrastructure, the people, the economic impact.
Exactly. The big goal is helping Nepal hit middle income status by 2030, and they prioritized 8 key sectors. And apparently DNF 2.0 involved public consultation, which suggests that focus on inclusion is, baked in.
Okay, so that's the top-down vision. What's the reality like on the ground? What are the strengths and weaknesses they're working with?
Well, some interesting points in the sources. A huge strength is mobile phone penetration. It's really high,
Everyone has a phone.
pretty much.
Mm.
And that's a massive asset for delivering digital services when, say, fixed broadband might be lacking. There's also a growing number of IT graduates coming out each year, over 15,000. And infrastructure is improving, with tech hubs emerging.
Okay.
Plus, the government launched this Decade of Information Technology initiative. Aims for like 1.5 million jobs and huge IT export numbers by 2034. That shows serious political will, a long-term commitment.
So mobiles, talent, political backing, clear pluses. What about the hurdles?
Still a significant digital divide. Big difference between cities and the countryside. Cybersecurity is a real worry. There have been government hacks. The current laws are old. And getting a new one passed seems slow.
That's concerning.
Yeah. And digital literacy isn't universally high, especially in some groups. Plus, there's this risk of a splinter net, different parts of the internet not connecting well.
So a real mix of opportunity and challenges.
Exactly. But what's interesting about the DNF 2.0 approach is that it feels more holistic because it explicitly includes infrastructure, skills, access alongside the tech. It seems to be learning from those global failures by directly addressing the human and social bits that got missed elsewhere.
I can see that tension. Ambitious national goals bumping up against resource limits and these ground-level challenges. So where does success actually happen?
Often where the top-down goals meet clever bottom-up adaptation. Like companies using that high mobile penetration, think digital wallets like eSewa or Kalti, to leapfrog infrastructure gaps. It's very pragmatic.
Making do with what you have.
And that political will, the decade of IT, that can really grease the wheels, right? Attract investment, maybe help keep talent, smooth out regulations.
All right, let's get specific then. Where are AI and automation actually being used? What does this look like day to day for Nepalese companies?
Okay, so fintech is probably the most visible driver. F1 Soft International is a big name, the pioneer behind eSewa.
Right, the big digital wallet.
Yeah, first one, dominant player, millions of users. They started with basics like SMS banking, but have evolved. The sources mentioned they explicitly list big data and AI. They even have a specific data vertical called extenso data.
So eSewa, what's the AI angle there?
Well, the sources highlight their AI agent. It's not just a simple chatbot. It's designed to help users with more complex stuff, like planning travel.
How?
It could apparently help with budgeting, figuring out schedules, booking things, getting recommendations, even maybe sorting out buy now, pay later options. It uses something called a multi-agent collaboration platform, or MCP.
Okay, so different AI bits working together.
Sort of, yeah. To solve a bigger problem for the user. The benefit is it saves people time and hassle, automates complex stuff for eSewa, and gives them data to personalize things. Plus, it helps push financial inclusion.
That's a pretty concrete AI application tackling a real need. Any other examples?
Kalti, another big wallet, is mentioned for automating school fee payments. Makes life easier for parents and schools. And more broadly in fintech, AI is being used for credit scoring, which helps bring underserved people into the formal financial system.
Makes sense. What about e-commerce? Duraz.
Yep, Daraz Nepal is the big player. Really introduced online shopping for many. They use chatbots, interact on social media, and use data for inventory and marketing. The sources mention personalization, which definitely implies some level of AI or machine learning, even if it's not, a super complex logistics engine like Alibaba's. It's key for breaking down geographical barriers inside Nepal.
Right, reaching more customers. And tourism. Lots of potential there.
Huge potential. Sources mention ideas like AI virtual guides, chatbots for info, maybe even augmented reality for heritage sites. And telemedicine for trekker safety is an interesting one.
Practical stuff, too.
Yeah, on the hotel side, automation is happening. Software like Ariat MHMS and Easy Absolute are mentioned. Cloud-based systems for managing bookings, check-ins, billing, inventory, streamlining operations, improving service. Hyatt using kiosks globally is mentioned as a sort of comparison point.
Okay, efficiency again. Let's link back to those development goals, agrotech and edtech.
Both are pushed by DNF 2.0. In agrotech, the sources talk about AI for things like predicting weather for farmers, identifying crop pests, basically improving productivity and cutting down on waste after harvest. That's huge for food security.
Yeah.
Companies like Srinagar AgroFarm are involved in promoting tech adoption.
And education.
EdTech, also a focus. AI is being used for personalized learning platforms. Imagine tailoring lessons for students in remote areas helps bridge that digital divide in education. MentorLab Education is cited for AI-powered mentoring. Blackboard Nepal has a school management app, online classes, QR attendance, payments, bus tracking, analytics, with plans to reach underserved areas too.
So tech making education more accessible, more effective.
Exactly. And pulling all this together, you need the IT services and AI development sector itself. That's the engine room.
Right. Who's building this stuff?
Companies like Cloud Factory, they do AI workforce solutions like data labeling for global clients, but they have a strong social mission, providing jobs and skills in Nepal. Leapfrog Technology works with global startups, has expertise in AI, health tech, fintech, and then there's Fuse Machines.
Fuse Machines. They came up earlier. What's special there?
They do enterprise AI, but crucially, they run an AI fellowship program in Nepal.
Training local talent.
Yes, exactly. Training Nepalese in advanced AI, machine learning, data science. The goal is explicitly to democratize AI, build that local capacity, create high-value jobs right there, and stop talented people from having to leave the country, that brain drain issue. Other firms like TechCraft are also building engineering teams for global companies.
It really sounds like fintech kicked things off, getting people comfortable with digital.
Like a Trojan horse, yeah.
And now AI and automation are spreading into other areas.
That seems to be the pattern. Mobile payments build trust and basic digital literacy. And importantly, many of these applications have that strong social impact or development angle. Financial inclusion, education, farming support, aligning with national goals.
And while maybe some AI uses are still fairly basic automation analytics.
Examples like ESIA's AI agents show they're capable of more sophisticated stuff. There's definitely growth potential. And building that local talent pipeline, like Fuse Machines is doing, is absolutely vital. It means Nepal can build solutions that fit its context, language, culture, challenges, instead of just importing potentially ill-fitting foreign tech. It's about building, digital sovereignty.
Okay, let's try and synthesize this. What are the core elements of this unique Nepali way we've been tracing?
Looking at the examples and the sources, a few things really stand out as pragmatic strategies. First, it seems very much problem first, technology later.
Solve a real need.
Exactly. Focus on tangible local issues, payments, hotel efficiency, helping farmers, education access, then find the right tech. Not just adopting AI because it's trendy. That's a direct contrast to those global failures where tech sometimes came before the why.
Makes sense. What else?
Second, it feels very phased and flexible. Implementation seems gradual. F1 Soft didn't start with AI, right? They evolved.
Step by step.
Yeah. That manages risk, lets you learn, adapt based on feedback. It makes a lot of sense when resources might be tighter. And it uses that latecomer advantage. Adopt proven, modern tech, but do it in manageable pieces.
Avoids the big, risky bang.
Right. Third, definitely people-centered growth. We see that strong focus in DNF on skills and literacy and in initiatives like the Fuse Machines Fellowship. It's about building local talent, managing the change. Again, directly addressing those human factor failures we saw elsewhere.
Investing in their own people.
Crucial. Fourth, leveraging existing strengths. That heavy reliance on mobile penetration for digital wallets is the prime example, using what you already have to overcome gaps elsewhere. Very pragmatic.
Use your assets.
Yep. And finally, learning from the world. I mean, the fact we're having this discussion shows they're aware of global experiences, looking at successes like Estonia, but also being cautious about risks seen elsewhere. like with data privacy, using that latecomer view to pick and choose proven strategies.
So it's like this emergent strategy, born out of necessity maybe, but also opportunity. Cautious, adaptive, focused on real value, not just hype.
That sums it up pretty well. And there's often that strong sense of community or solving local problems, driving Impulti, helping schools, agri-tech for farmers. That bottom-up energy can be really sustainable.
And building local talent. You
Yeah,
called it digital sovereignty earlier. That feels key.
it really is. Having the internal capacity to build and manage your own digital future, reducing reliance on potentially expensive or culturally misaligned foreign expertise, Fuse Machines wanting to build AI excellence from Nepal really speaks to that ambition.
Okay, so we've seen the global lessons, Nepal's foundations, the examples, the strategies. But what about the road ahead? What challenges still need tackling? What's fascinating is what needs to click into place next for this progress to stick.
Yeah, there are definitely still big hurdles. That digital divide is number one. Mobile is great, but reliable broadband, especially out in rural mountainous areas, needs a massive push. Getting it to schools, health centers, maybe satellite internet has a role.
Infrastructure is always foundational.
Always. Then, cybersecurity and data protection. That needs serious strengthening. Those government hacks are a major red flag. The laws need updating urgently, and getting that new data protection bill moving seems slow.
Trust is everything there.
Absolutely.
Right.
Especially if you want people using more advanced AI with sensitive data. You need a proper National Data Protection Authority, investment in secure storage, forensics. Without trust, adoption hits a wall.
What else?
Scaling up digital literacy effectively. Overall literacy is improving, but digital literacy lags, even among government staff sometimes. So national programs are needed, support for women in tech, making interfaces simple, multilingual support.
And think sure everyone can participate.
Right. And lastly, just continuing to create a really good environment for innovation and investment, cutting red tape, making policies clear and supported for tech startups, addressing any potential barriers like rules around foreign ownership if they're holding things back.
These all sound really interconnected, don't they? Infra enables literacy, both need security, all need supportive policy.
They absolutely are. You can't really fix one in isolation. It needs a coordinated strategy.
Yeah.
That cybersecurity delay, for instance, could really undermine confidence in cool things like ESOA's advanced AI.
You mentioned brain drain as a risk earlier. Is remote work changing that picture at all? Are people able to stay in Nepal and work globally?
That's actually a positive countertrend mentioned in the sources. The rise of remote work and these global competence centers, GCCs, basically offshore teams for foreign firms based in Nepal.
Okay.
It means skilled Nepalis can work for international companies, earn good money, get great experience, but without leaving home. It helps keep talent in the country, brings in foreign currency, and fits right into the DNF's IT export goals.
That's a really interesting development, a potential solution.
It definitely offers a way to help mitigate that long-standing challenge, yeah.
So wrapping this up, charting Nepal's digital future, it seems clear it's not about just copying others, but sticking to this distinct, pragmatic, homegrown path.
That really feels like the key takeaway. This Nepali way, adaptive, problem-focused, building local talent, learning carefully from others. It seems to be letting them make real progress and, crucially, sidestep some of those really costly mistakes we saw globally.
And the potential impact. If they stay on this path with AI and automation.
It's genuinely significant. It could drive truly inclusive, sustainable development, improve public services dramatically, boost key economic sectors, really enhance quality of life. It aligns perfectly with those ambitious DNF's goals. We're talking automating routine stuff, maybe even using AI for big complex problems like climate adaptation or healthcare challenges. The potential is huge.
So to unlock that, what are the key actions needed for businesses, for government?
For businesses, I'd say,
Yeah.
keep focusing on solving real local problems first. Embrace that step-by-step incremental innovation. Really invest in upskilling your people, collaborate with universities, and absolutely prioritize data security and using AI ethically.
And for the policymakers.
Accelerate that rural infrastructure build-out. Get those robust cybersecurity and data protection laws finalized and, importantly, enforced. Massively scale up inclusive digital literacy efforts. Create that really supportive regulatory and investment climate. And keep promoting Nepal as a place where AI innovation can happen.
It really sounds like success hinges on everyone pulling together, government, businesses, academia, citizens.
Absolutely. Collaboration is going to be essential to navigate the challenges and really grab the opportunities. And maybe here's a final thought, something for you, the listener, to mull over. The ultimate test of Nepal's digital journey maybe isn't just the specific tech achievements, the cool AI, the efficient systems. It's whether this pragmatic, people-focused approach can successfully scale up. Can it translate these localized wins into broad, equitable national impact? Can it truly bridge that digital divide and ensure that the benefits of AI reach everyone, including those furthest behind? That feels like the real measure of success down the line.
That's a powerful place to leave it. Thank you for walking us through this really insightful deep dive into Nepal's unique digital path.
My pleasure. It's a really fascinating case study, isn't it? Innovation shaped by specific circumstances.
And thank you, our listener, for sending the sources and joining us. We hope this gives you some food for thought about digital transformation wherever you might be.